Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We were from Group G1. We will present our discussion result about isolation and identification of Pinostrobin compound from the rhizome of Temukunci or Kaempferia pandurata Rops. Next. The member of the group are Talita Luna Ramadisa, Andika Wahyuwardana, Wanda Ermanasika, Gita Laila Ramayanti, Natasha Harnelia Isnawanti, dan Nopanda Sabrina Maren. It's all about pinostrobin. Pinostrobin is a flavonoid compound of the flavone type with a molecular formula C16H14O4 and a molecular weight of 270.29. Identification of flavonoid are grayish white crystal and has polar to semipolar solubility. Pinostrobin is a good candidate for leukemia chemopreventive agent. Pinostrobin will contributing in breakage of the envelope and virus infection. And pinostrobin has a role as a plant metabolite. Next. This is the procedure. First extraction were extracted by sonication method. Fractionation were fractionated using VLC. Isolation using TLC preparative and identification using TLC densitometer. Next will be presented by my friend.
Okay, for the pinostrobin extraction, 10 grams of Temukunci rhizome dry powder were weighed, and then the sample is added by 100 milliliter ethyl acetate solvent. The sample were macerated with the help of tourniquet for 30 minutes at 40 degrees Celsius. The extract was filtered using a banana funnel filter paper and vacuum to spread the pulp and the liquid extract. The liquid extract were dried using vacuum rotary evaporator and continue with evaporation in fume hood to form the thick extract. The difference between maceration and sonication is the maceration process only done by soaking the dry in the solvent with several strings. Meanwhile, sonication process is not only soaking but also using ultrasonic wave. Ethyl acetate can be used as a solvent in pinostrobin extraction. Ethyl acetate monograph is clear liquid with a pungent odor, flammable, and non-volatile. Ethyl acetate is semipolar. Pinostrobin is a flavonoid that is polar to semipolar. Then there will be a light dissolved light direction. Polar compounds will dissolve in a polar compound and vice versa. And
the next for pinostrobin vaccination tools and material consists of using VLC or vacuum liquid chromatography, and then mobile phase is N-hexane and with ethyl acetate, and then the stationary phase using silica gel 60. For the procedure, the VLC fractionation method was carried out by elution of a thick extract that had been mixed with silica gel 60 1/4 and then placed on dry paper in a VLC column and then covered with filter paper. The mobile phase used in N-hexane with ethyl acetate with a gradient ratio from fractionation 1 to fraction 6. For the identification was performed in a foam hood using FeCl3 spray reagent, and then the spot comparable to the pinostrobin standard, especially fraction number 4, will be visible. And then the next is the things that should be considered during TLC identification is the spotting distance should not be too close, roughly 1 centimeter. The capillary tube must be perpendicular at the moment of spotting, and then the spotting points should not be spread too far because this will result in duplicate peaks. And then the spotting is generally done 3 times to get the desired concentration. To eliminate water vapor or gas in the chamber, the TLC chamber must first be saturated. The plate elution distance should not exceed the specified line, and then the FeCl3 is used as a reagent in spraying. The color will be generated as a result of an iron covalent connection with the phenolic OH group of pinostrobin. And then the next will be explained with my friend.
And then the isolation of pinostrobin. The isolation was performed by preparative TLC. And for the tools and materials, there are TLC plate. And the mobile phase used is N-hexane and ethyl acetate with the ratio of 4 to 1. And then the stationary phase is silica gel. And then there is pro-analysis ethanol and capillary pipe. The Pinostrobin compounds are spotted parallel to form a band. The pointing is done from the left to the right, and then there is no break or space in spotting. After spotting, the TLC plate was dried before being put into the TLC vessel. The TLC plate is then put in the TLC vessel and wait for it to be completely eluted to a predetermined line. After reaching the line, the TLC plate is lifted and irradiated first and then viewed under UV lamp 254. The TLC plate below 254 has Pinostrobin bands. On the spot, a line is drawn to determine which part is taken from the TLC plate, and then the next will be presented by my friend.
Furthermore, scrapping is carried out to take the TLC powder, scrapping according to the lines that have been marked to take Pinostrobin compounds. The scrapping results are washed with PA ethanol dissolved. It is expected that the Pinostrobin will dissolve in ethanol. Using 10 milliliters of ethanol, then pour it into a container containing Pinostrobin TLC powder and dissolved it. Then it was filtered. After that, the ethanol solution which contained Pinostrobin was transferred to a container, namely a porcelain cup or vial. Then the solution was evaporated under a fume hood to obtain Pinostrobin crystal. Other methods that can be used by Pinostrobin isolation are precipitation and crystallization without chromatography, or by other chromatography such as HPLC. The LC is used as for compounds that cannot be extracted by dredging, while preparative TLC is used for compounds that can be dredged and collected in one container after eluting. The silica must be separated from the compound using ethanol as a solvent. The next will be presented by my friend.
And the next is Pinostrobin identification. The procedure is for spotting the isolated sample obtained using silica gel TLC60 as a stationary phase with 3 cm multiplied by 10 cm plates. And the second is there are previously accurate Pinostrobin standard and isolates on the TLC plates. And the next is eluted using N-hexane ethyl acetate, and the ratio is 4:1 as a mobile phase in saturated TLC vessel. And the next is put the plate in the TLC scanner instrument. And the last is the WinChat program was used to continue reviewing the data and identifying Pinostrobin compound. And the next is in the Pinostrobin identification process. Other methods that can be used beside TLC densitometer include IR spectroscopy, HNMR, CNNMR, GCMS, and LCMS. And next will be presented by my friend.
So in the scrubbing process, there are several things that must be considered, such as first, scrubbing is not optimal so that no more samples stick to the TLC plate. Second, the scrubbing must be done as quickly and as soon as possible. Third, the TLC plate must be connected to a vacuum collector and the plate must be lined above and below the compound eluent line. So the role of the standard compound Pinostrobin is as a comparator or benchmark to find out whether the sample compound is Pinostrobin or not. This can be done by comparing the RF value of the sample and the standard also for the 3D profile. If the value is the same or close to the same, then the sample contains Pinostrobin.
Okay, so that's all from us. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.